stuff or why is this stuff useful? Well, here are exact examples of why what we're learning about different DNA analysis techniques are useful. So that you can identify criminals, or you can exonerate suspects, or even identify people who, like Jane Does or John Does. So this is why this kind of stuff is useful. So for those of you who had the Colin Pitchfork case, what was that about?
He raped and killed 2 girls.
Who did? This man named Colin Pitchfork was accused of raping and killing. But what actually happened? Who had the what else?
Dwayne would do it, sure.
Dwayne?
Police asked Alec Jeffries, the guy that had like the RFLP idea to help find the man that did it.
So then this man, Jeffries, he kind of helped use the RFLP analysis technique, which was this one, that box, to help identify the actual criminal. And that was who? Colin Pitchfork. So then that was the actual case where someone was blamed for this crime and they got exonerated and they found the actual criminal. So the significance of this case, what was the significance? Who else?
They were still able to find the right person because they used the RFLP.
And this was like the very first time anything like this was used, right? So that's the significance where this RFLP analysis was used for the very first time to help with the case. All right, what about the Blassie case? Who had the Blassie case? Raise your hands. Those guys did. Anyone else have the Blassie case? Alec, what's the case summary of the Blassie case?
Basically, there was a guy, a soldier, a U.S. soldier that died in Vietnam, and they didn't know like who he was. Like they didn't know his true identity, so they put him in a team of unknown soldiers, and a family did DNA testing to prove that it was their son that was in there.
Right. And be sure when we're going through these to fill out this information as well into your table, in case if you haven't been already. So the Blassie case, you have an unknown soldier from the Vietnam War, and his family's trying to identify him. What was the analysis that was used? Nick?
It was mtDNA, so mitochondria.
So since mitochondria is separate from nuclear DNA, and it lasts a lot longer, they're able to use that DNA to identify victims or unknowns. So the outcome was that they were able to identify the soldier as Michael Blassie and they give him a proper burial. Ethan, what was the significance? Oh,
One doesn't do anything.
You better ask that.
I don't know last names.
Hoagie.
Hoagie,
Yeah.
go for it.
Significance was the family had the peace of mind knowing that the man was their son.
Because they're able to use this technique.
Right, and
Is that it?
Yep.
Alright. Bloodsworth. Who had the Bloodsworth case? You guys. Alright. Who wants to tell me the summary?
We believe that Kurt Bloodsworth had sexually assaulted a 9-year-old and afterwards killed her.
Okay.
When he was on death row, his lawyer found a place on his DNA profiling and analysis degree. So they did that, and it turned out that it wasn't actually him.
So again, this is a case where this man Bloodsworth was on death row for being accused of these crimes, but then they went through a DNA analysis, proved that he was not the match to the DNA that they collected from the crime scene. What was the analysis that was used?
DNA profiling or analysis.
But what was the specific technique? PCR. So they got a sample of it and they made multiple copies of it so that they can have a good enough DNA set so they can kind of make a better match. Carly, what was the analysis? What was the outcome?
He was free from prison.
So this man was freed from prison and someone else, the actual criminal, got caught. What was the significance of the case, Mason?
I kind of put like,
What'd you put?
the Congress passed the Cardiovascular Convention federal grant testing program, creating a federal DNA testing program. So I thought that.
Yeah. It's really good.
What'd she say? Can you repeat that?
Want to repeat it a little louder?
The Kirk Bloodsworth post-conviction federal grant testing program was passed by Congress, creating a federal DNA testing program.
Did you hear that? The Kirk Bloodsworth Act was passed in Congress that allowed DNA sampling to occur. Any questions with any of the other information in this table? Yes.
Question. What was the outcome of the pitchfork?
What was the outcome of the Pitchfork case? For those of you at the Pitchfork?
It was the first time RFLP was used.
The significance of the Pitchfork was that it was the very first time a DNA analysis technique, RFLP, was used to help solve a case. Any other questions before moving on? No questions? Alright, so then the next thing is to answer these questions. And if you already been working on them, that's good. You have until the rest of the period to work on this. They're kind of dealing with questions they ask you about what are the ethics to having something like a national DNA database where it's okay for the government to have your DNA on file so that they can look you up? Or is it bad? Is that kind of thing bad? What are the other uses of DNA analysis that can be used? Can you think of any kind of other reasons to use it? Because we discovered identification of unknown victims, different murder cases, that kind of stuff. Can you think of any other examples? So that's what those questions are kind of asking. So you have the rest of the period to work on it, and then turn it in Google Classroom. Any questions?